Hey, howdy ho! Um, I'm going to be explaining how to play Magic Arena. Now, let's first get used to the interface. So here's the home screen. It tells you some news and events, and it has challenges down here normally. I've completed all the ones for today, but like for each win you get a certain amount of gold, and it can also give you packs and cards. And you can swap between arena play modes and all play modes. And there's also a big old play button when you're ready. Next, let's talk about the profile screen. Here it shows your name, your number, just in case you want to fight somebody, like a friend. You can go up to direct challenge and enter their name, or you can invite them through Discord. It also shows your ranking in Constructed and in Limited, and you can see your season rewards. So if you don't play at all, like I haven't played Ranked this season yet, in Constructed, so you'll get, right now the prizes are the same. So yeah, it shows your prizes, one pack. These are card styles, they just recently came out with them. And they pretty much are, well, I'll show you them later, so we'll get to those. Decks, here's where it shows all the decks you have. If you're new to the game, it gives you 1, 2, 3, 4, I think, yeah, there's a red one somewhere, Dragon's Fire up here. Gives you the basic, like, pre-made decks, and then it also gives you Walk the Plank, Chaos and Mayhem, Auras of Majesty, Primal Fury, Strength in Numbers, Eternal Thirst, Artifacts Attack, Saproling Swarm, Jungle Secrets, Wrath of Mages, Bright Flames, I think? But that may have been one. No, yeah, it does not give you that, it gives you, sorry. And I believe that is it. So, but you start off with the 5 normal ones, the mono-colored ones. I made Simic, it's just down there. And you can either choose to, upgrade them or just leave them as they are. I think I just have them as they are. Yeah, so here's what the Graveyard Bash looks like. And they're not terrible, they're just not fantastic. And I have some styles, so let's apply them and see what you get. So Doom to Center. It pretty much gives you like a 3D view of the card, which, makes it look real cool. It happens in game too, so you don't have to yeah, whatever. But you can also change your card sleeves. You can obtain them through different ways. There is a code, but I forgot the code for this one. And there's also, ones you can purchase, but this is the standard one you'll most likely have if you're just starting. We're going to save and exit. And so packs, whenever you get packs, and you can get them from playing or from buying them with coins or gems, you go to the pack screen to open them. And then in the store, you have the welcome bundle. You have all the things you can purchase with real money. And then you have gems, which gems are like their premium currency, though you can earn them, it's just kind of more difficult. So you earn gold, like by playing and completing quests. You usually earn about 1,000 a day if you complete all your challenges and maybe play a game or two more. But ooh, also, so if you're just starting out, you can type in Play Ravnica and mess around with the capitalization if this doesn't work, but I've already done it, so it won't work for me. Yeah, but like it might be like a lowercase play and then a capital Rav, or lowercase all, I don't know, but try the first way, and it could give you 3 packs of Ravnica, or Guilds of Ravnica, which is this, which each pack costs 1,000, and it gives you 8 of each card, or not 8 of each, sorry, that's goofy. So here, let me buy one real fast. Let's get it from Dominaria, or Dominaria. So you go there, you click on it, and it opens up, and oh, just got a wild card too, and I'll explain what that is in a second. So it gives you 5 commons, which, you can look through them, gives first strike and haste until end of turn, Sacrifice a goblin, add 1 of that mana, tap that, it gains indestructible. Yeah. And then it gives you 2 uncommon cards, which are, and then it has your flipped card, which is a rare, or mythic rare, depending how lucky you are. And see, I got Traxos Scourge of Krug. I believe that's how you say all that. And that's pretty good. I actually have a deck where I could use him in that, so that's pretty awesome. But yeah, so you can go purchase those packs from the store, or you can but yeah, so this is how you go through the sets. Each set is different. Ixalan, I don't know how to describe it, but they each have different styles of cards. Core set has cards from previous, like, earlier Magic sets, but like revitalized, I guess. I don't know, I'm a novice too, I don't know how to really explain a lot of this, but like Ixalan, or no, Rivals of Ixalan has merfolk and I believe dinosaurs. Ixalan has some vampires in it, so, and M19 has a combination of all of these. Dominaria has, not quite sure, but I don't buy a lot of them. Oh, and each set has except for these first 2, they have a special card that if you purchase like 45 packs, it'll give you, like, that. Here, Omniscience will give you, fancy, or if you purchase the 45 packs. But you can also get it just by either using a wild card or just getting lucky. Ravnica, it introduced 5 guilds here, which we'll go over in a second, and you can also get a powerful card from there and a powerful card from here. Now, let's go to sleeves. You can purchase these sleeves just for 600 gems, and so they're pretty cheap, and you can put them on as many decks as you want. Here are guild bundles. So Ravnica Allegiance had 5 guilds. It had Selesnya, which is this one. It had Boros. It had Golgari, and Izzet, and Dimir. Then Ravnica Allegiance kind of came out semi-recently. Introduced Azorius, I believe, Orzhov, Rakdos, Gruul, and Simic. So these are all the guild bundles you can purchase, and they contain this. This is a card sleeve, by the way. So it's a real fancy card sleeve that when you go over it creates a little special effect, and card styles for popular cards and or legendary cards. And some of them can look really cool. So if you are dedicated to a certain color combination, then you might want to pick one of these up. Next we have avatars. These are the 2 avatars you can either buy with gold or gems. You also get avatars from the guild bundles, the people in the background. So if you think he looks real cool, you like the card sleeve and everything, then pick that up, and you also get the avatar, which you can change in here. You start off with the ones that I have right now.
What a strange...
Don't worry. This is all just an illusion.
I will prove myself worthy.
Time to set the world on fire.
So you get all of those, and then now they just recently added all these.
Water burn?
Nothing like a bit of violence now and then.
Put some fire in your belly.
So now they have all these that you can buy. Well, you can only buy him
Here be monsters.
This is about to get interesting.
and her for gold. And 3,000 gold, that's not too much, just save up, but when you're early on, you might want to just be buying packs. I have a lot of cards to mess around with, so I just started saving up for pretty much whatever, mostly for events though. Packs, gems, here's the gem prices, $5 for 750, all that sort of stuff. And then here it has featured items. Now, gems and gold. I believe that, like, I have not spent any money on this game, mostly because you can participate in certain events such as, here it is, ranked draft guilds, or ranked draft, and then whatever set it decides to be in. And pretty much this gives you 3 packs plus a pack, even if you don't win. So you get 4 packs for 5,000. Plus, however many gems you get. So let's say you win no games, you spent 5,000 and don't win anything. You only get 50 gems. Well, I have bought a Soul Ring card sleeve, which costed, I think, 1,000, maybe 1,200, because I keep getting up to about 4-ish wins every time I've done it so far, so yeah. And the more you play, the better you get, so the better chance you have of getting all that. So I'd just say, like right now, after, you know, I've already built up a good card collection, just save up till 500 or 5,000 and do this, you know, so you get more cards and you get gems, which is real nifty. So let's go make a deck real fast. So this is, if you're a real noob to Magic, we're gonna go make a, let's pick a color. Let's go pick red. And yeah, so you might be confused about a couple things. So first off, why is a black card in the red section? Well, that's because it has an activated ability that has a red cost in it. Same if we were to go to white, or green, I mean, and it has this white card because it has green in the mana cost, and this red card because it has green in the mana, or in the activated cost. So if you actually don't know a lot about Magic at all, let's go. So this is a card, you know, obviously, but in the top left you see its name, Ordinary Goblin, and the top right you see its mana cost. Now that does not mean 1 red, that means 1 mana of any color plus a red mana. So that's 2 mana total. Then it has its picture. Right underneath that it says Creature-Goblin Warrior. That's its card type, and then its creature type. So it is a, you know, like we have a enchantment, aura, instant, you know, all that sort of stuff. I don't think we have any sorceries on this page. But, so yeah, creature, goblin, warrior. So, goblin is one subtype, and warrior is, I think, either a super subtype or just another subtype. And basically, any card that affects like warriors or goblins will affect this card. I'll show you one in a second. And then beneath that is any text that kind of like affects, or like that comes into effect as the card is played. Not necessarily when it is played, but like, see this one, whenever it blocks or becomes blocked by a creature, it deals 1 damage to that creature. So that's not necessarily when it's played, but it has an effect. And right next to where it says Ordinary Goblin, to the left, you see a quote. Nobody ever listens to my complaints, not even when I use the listening stick. Well, that quote is flavor text that they don't show when you're in the actual game, which kind of sucks, but, you know. It's kind of nifty if you're a noob, so you don't read that and think, how does that explain what the card does? But yeah. So red is typically a more aggressive color, so we're going to start off by, let's start off in the 1 category. So this card has a card style first off, but it has haste, which means as soon as you play it, it can attack. No card can attack right off the bat unless it has haste or text that says it can. And that's because it has what's called summoning sickness. So you have to usually wait a turn until you can attack with it, but this can attack right off the bat. So we're going to add, oh, I don't have. Never mind, we're not going to add that card. We are going to add, we're going to add Goblin Banneret. We're going to make a Goblin deck. So there's the Goblin Banneret. There's 2 of them. Right above the, you know, shows how many of each card you have. And you can use your wild cards. I don't know how to view how many you have. They used to have it real easy where you can view them, but since then they've changed it. So I don't know how to view how many you have, but I'm pretty sure there is a way. And you can just, you know, test just by doing that. And you can, so that's how you craft. But you can craft cards that you don't have by going to filter, going to not collected, and coming back. So here there's a land called Memorial to War, and it taps for 1 red mana, or you can pay 5 and tap it to destroy it, and it just, or to sacrifice it, and it destroys a target land. which it's pretty cool. Here's Alpine Moon. It's a enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, choose a non-basic land card type. And so, I'll show you what basic lands are. Oh, it's right here, like a mountain. It says basic land as its type. Choose a non-basic land card name, and then lands your opponent's control with the name chosen, lose all land types and abilities, and gain tap 1 to add mana of any color. So, yeah, and also, okay, so enchantment to the right of that has a golden M19. So the symbol is what set it's a part of, and the color dictates the rarity. So golden is rare, silver is uncommon, black is common, and orange is mega rare, or ultra rare, or whatever. So, but I'm not looking to... I don't know how many wild cards. I've, used quite a few, so I don't know how many I have. So, we have Goblin Banneret, which has Mentor, which means that if it has power greater than something it's attacking with, it can boost the power of the thing it's attacking with, or it can give a +1/+1 counter to the thing it's attacking with. And it always tells you what that means, like Mentor. Right, left, above the quote, left of the card, it says Mentor, whenever this creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on target attacking creature with lesser power. Blah. And you might be like, it's a 1/1, how could it have greater power? Well, if you pay 2 mana, its activated ability, it gets +2/+0 until the end of turn. And since it doesn't say, or like you can activate activated abilities as many times as possible, like that you have mana for, which is neat. So you can pay 4 mana and it'll be a 5/1 because it pluses 2 to the 1, which makes it 3, and pluses 2 to the 3 makes it 5. So that's I like this card. It's 1 mana and it can be powered up later when you have more mana. Goblin Motivator, I included this so that I could tap it and target creature gains haste until end of turn, which means that once this guy's in the field, I can slap down a big guy, tap him, and have the big guy attack right off the bat. So, he is real powerful when combined with other cards, but by himself he's not very powerful. And I don't think that you can use activated abilities on the turn you play a card, like due to summoning sickness, but I don't know if haste affects that or not. Speaking of haste, maximize velocity. Target creature gets +1/+1 and gains haste until end of turn. Don't worry about jump start right now, unless you are really intrigued with all these names. But I'm not gonna have that card. So I'm gonna take Mutiny though, which pretty much has an opponent's creature deal damage to another opponent's creature. And that's pretty nifty. But I'll take Reverend Strike. Now what I'm doing, this is a bad way to do all of this. You usually want more than just 1 of each card or 2 of every other card. I'm gonna take that away. Take that away. Which is why you usually craft. Now, right off the bat, you're gonna be like, I have all these cards, I want to play 1 of each. And I say go for it. And you'll learn very quickly that you want cards that you can, like, that you'll get. Like, if I include 4 of a card, like 4 shocks, I know that usually during a game I will draw 1 shock. So that is nifty. I'm also going to lower my lands because this is going to be a pretty low cost deck. Cavalcade of Calamity. Probably pronounced the first thing wrong, but whatever. This is an enchantment that when a creature attacks with 1 power or less, it deals 1 power directly to the opponent, even if the creature is blocked. I'm going to include 2 of these, just because a lot of our creatures so far are pretty weak. Here's a ramp card that can help us get our mana fixed. Or not fixed, but help us grow our mana. Can be blocked, so creature is defender. That's not a terrible card, actually. So what I'm looking for well, first off, goblins. So let's actually type that in real. Whoa. Yeah, just to get our goblin here. Just to get, like, kind of sorted. Did not mean to say goblins plural. Though, this is actually a good thing, because these are some cards that are pretty dang good, and I want to talk about real fast. So let's talk about Goblin Warchief. This makes goblin spells 1 less to cast, and then that's 1 colorless mana, so it actually won't affect Goblin Motivator, because that's 1 red mana. But like, you know, Goblin, or itself actually, it will get rid of that 1, and it'll make it just cost 2 red. And then goblins you control have haste. That, I think that's a pretty decent card. Now this card, other goblins you control have +1/+1, and you can sacrifice a goblin to destroy a target artifact. This is a fantastic card for a goblin deck. It helps boost your other goblins, and yeah, that's really it. I don't know. But drawing one of these and like being able to play it, very important, very good. Helps amp up all your other creatures, since this is a goblin deck. And then Volley Veteran, this helps. This is good removal, which means that if, you know, an opponent has a very powerful creature on the board, this will help us get rid of it just by having a lot of goblins. So let's actually take the S off that. And then and when you search it, it doesn't search for the name necessarily, it searches for the name and the description, or stuff, yeah. So I want Goblin Instigators, because this, when you play this, it creates 2 goblins. One, like this card, and then a token, which is pretty much a creature, for all intents and purposes, right now, if you're a beginner. That's pretty much all you need to know. Okay. So, but yeah, so getting a lot of goblins out on the board will help us with, you know, because then this guy will amp them. This guy will help us remove things with them. It works out altogether. Let's see. Oh, so Squeed the Immortal is a legendary creature, a legendary goblin, and you may cast him from your graveyard or exile. So pretty much when he dies, you can just keep casting and casting and casting him. He's a pretty nifty card, but I don't think I have what's required to help fuel and like power. I've not made a deck with him, so I'm a little iffy on if I should. Legion Warboss, though, it's a 2/2 that at the beginning of combat on your turn creates a 1/1 goblin creature. That creature gains haste and has to attack. This is actually not a terrible card paired up with Goblin Trashmaster. So let's say we get 2 of these out on the board. Then he will be making a 3/3 each turn, and it'll, you know, it's forced to attack, but if it survives that turn, then you can start amassing an army, and that's a very powerful thing. And then there are other combinations you can do with this, like Divine Visitation, which turns those 1/1s into flying 4/4 angels, and that's pretty powerful. So, Gutter Snipe. Gutter Snipe's alright, but I'm trying to make a more creature deck. So we're gonna add 3 Bogart Brutes, and 2 Siege Gang Commanders. So, okay, let's go back. Bogart Brutes, they have Menace, which means they can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. So that takes up blockers and allows your other men to get through, or allows this guy to get a free hit off, which is always handy. Then, Siege Gang Commander, when he enters the battlefield, he creates 3 other goblins, and then when you can sacrifice the goblins to deal damage. But those 3 goblins can really help power up, you know, Volley Veteran. They can, and they're powered up by the Trash Master. So as you can see, there's great synergy within all the cards of this deck. Now, I am a novice. I've seen decks slaughter me with synergy that I can't ever hope to master or obtain, but for a starter deck, this is very good. Though you won't have a lot of these cards. I didn't even have Crash Through until recently. But this is just a nifty idea, like, to kind of help you get your creative juices flowing. So once you get a collection of cards, you can kind of, you know, what do I want to make? Goblin Gathering. This is a sorcery, which means that you can cast it on your turn, and it's not a creature by itself, though this happens to create creatures. It creates a number of 1/1 goblin tokens plus 2, equal to the number of goblin gatherings in your graveyard. So you're going to have 4 of those in. And if you have 3 of them in your graveyard, then it's 3 goblins plus 2, that's 5. So that, so yeah, you basically it helps create a bunch of creatures. Now we have 59 out of 60 cards. That's quite the amount. By the way, you can customize what is on your deck by dragging a card up there. I might drag War Boss, just because he looks real fancy. But, oh, and you can also click here for the deck statistics. So, creature has 25 goblins, 7 rogues, 4 soldiers, 10 warriors. That doesn't matter unless you have something that's like give all rogues +1. You know, +1 or something like that. Over here it tells you your creatures, non-creature ratio, your mana cost, and your average mana cost. Deck details. Let's go swap it to my Soul Ring because I'm so proud of that one. Standard, singleton. Oh, these are the different sets and kind of modes you can play in. Singleton means you can only have 1 of each card. Pauper is a common only game mode, I believe. So, you know, it's very nifty, but we're going to just be doing standard. So we got rid of some of those. Do we have we do have Prospector to help add goblins, huh? Let's see. Now we're just going to look for some spells to amp up our dudes. So Lava Coil, very good card. It's a sorcery, but it deals 4 damage to a card, and if it dies, it gets exiled. You don't really have to worry about exile, except for the fact that most black cards cannot retrieve from exile. I don't know if it is possible to retrieve from exile, which is why I'm saying most, but exile just could mean that they're gone for good. I have no clue. Lightning Mare can't be countered, can't be blocked by blue. That's real nifty fighting blue, but I don't know if I'll be... Like, that's circumstantially good. I mean, it's alright, but it's not fantastic. And you might be looking around saying you see a lot of stuff that says instant or sorcery, instant or sorcery, instant or sorcery. Well, that means that, like, you know, here's a sorcery, and shock is an instant, like, it's type. So, yeah, that would affect those. And that also shows great synergy, so you can, just if you see a lot of stuff, you can, with the same name. And, yeah, why? So, we have a lot of shocks. We're going to take out 2 shocks and put in 2 lightning strikes. I like this art more. Just because. We're going to put in 2 sure strikes. Now, you can go over 60 cards. I wouldn't recommend it entirely, maybe for certain decks, but I would recommend trying to keep it down low. And like I said, like, go ham on your first few decks, but usually good decks have like 3 to 4 of each type of card and not spread out so thin like I do. So, we have a lot of creatures, and we have some spells and some ways to boost the creatures, but we don't really have a way of taking out our opponent's big creatures. We're going to include 3 Acts of Treason, which lets us take their creature and let it attack them, or make it attack them. But now we're 3 over, so I'm going to say, I don't really think we need a Goblin Motivator. I don't think it's urgent to attack right off the bat with any of the creatures so far. And then Bannerets are pretty good, they've helped me win games. 10th Street Dodgers. I'm going to take out a Goblin Instigator and a 10th Street Dodger. And we're going to call this deck Goblins... Oh, that's an M. Goblins Galore. And I believe we are ready. Now, if you're playing like, we're going to be playing best out of 1, but if you're playing best out of 3, you can use a sideboard, which means that in between games you can swap out cards, and, you know, like if you're fighting a blue deck, you might want to put the Lightning Mare in your sideboard just in case, so you can have some anti-blue type stuff. So right now this deck is very cheap. There's only 2 5-cost cards, all that sort of stuff, which is why we took away some land, which is how we get our mana. But chances are you're gonna probably want some big creature. Our plan is to be very aggressive and win before they have a chance to play any of their big creatures, but let's see how it works. We're gonna play an actual match, just so you guys get a flow of what you might be up against if you go. But there is a practice mode that I would recommend. It's not like I thought it'd be. I thought it'd be something you can bulldoze over. And like, I'm a novice, so I mean, most people probably could. But I found it semi-challenging. I still won, but yeah. So Mulligan replaces all these cards with 6 new ones. So if you get a really bad starting hand, I recommend mulliganing. But let's see. So I get 2 land, and I get, with that 2 land, I can play 3 of these cards. I can get creatures, I can deal damage, and I can even draw a card and boost my creatures. So I think that's a good hand. So right now, from his first land, we can tell he is playing a blue-red. I'm going to play this just to draw the card. And that was actually very beneficial. So he could be playing a gate deck, because that's a... oh, no. Okay, sorry, let me backtrack. He's probably playing a blue-red deck, which... and so this is a monocolored deck, just for, you know, starting out. But blue and red makes a very fierce and controlling combination, and they use the instant and sorcery abilities of a lot of cards. See Gutter Snipe? Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, it deals 2 damage directly to me. Well, if you remember the shock we put in, that costed 1 mana, and deals 2 damage to any target, you can cast that and deal 4 damage to your opponent directly. Now, if you're wondering what I just did right there, I used my Act of Treason to take his creature for that turn and attack him with it. That was just because we want to finish this game as soon as possible. We don't have the stuff to take out, like, the majority of things. Like, powerful creatures, I'm saying. Okay, here we go. This isn't looking too bad. So here's a shock, it deals 2 damage to any target, and here's a lightning strike, deals 3 damage. So we can deal 5 damage using those 2, and 2 more plus, you know, attacking with the goblins. Or we can play one of these other cards. I think dealing 7 damage isn't actually a bad deal right now. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna attack with all. Alright, so yeah, if you're a beginner to Magic, it shows the phases down here. So, you know, this is the stage before combat, there's end of turn, and then after this turn. I'm sorry, let me get interrupted real fast to answer this question. So this card lets your opponent choose, which he cast at me, so I'm his opponent, if I would rather take 4 damage or let that player draw 3 cards. Now, a beginner might be like, why would you take 4 damage? That's crazy. Well, 3 cards, he might not have what he needs right now, so I'm going to take the damage and hope that he really needed those 3 cards, and hope I can drain him of those resources. Well, see, he probably did do those. He's not attacking. He wants to block, but we're not going to let him do that. We're going to take his creature, and we're going to attack him. See, so we're at 7. He can cast a lightning strike or he can cast 2 lightning strikes technically, and deal enough damage to kill us. We are hoping that... okay, yeah. Oh, okay. We need to accept this, because if we don't, he deals 4 damage and then he attacks with his Gutter Snipe. So we are going to decline. He draws those cards, and we hope he does not get a shock, which he probably will. Oh, he gets a land too, so he actually can kill us with a lightning strike. There we go. And there's that match done. That was a relatively close match. Maybe if we played our cards a little better, we could have won. But we're going to play another match real fast. So let's go over the colors real fast. The black and blue are typically slow, red and white are typically fast, and green, I guess, is kind of in the middle. Though green has giant creatures, blue is more tactical. Black, when its creatures die, it can usually take them out of the graveyard. Red is real cheap creatures that it can throw at your opponent. And white is also cheap creatures that have a bit more tactical stuff. We will not take this hand because of the one land, even though we could play 2 cards. I don't know if this is much better, but I don't recommend going beyond, like mulliganing beyond a 5. You can mute your opponent if you want. It's not voice chat, it's just if you click on your person you can say hello, nice, here go, oops, good game. And if they spam that, you might want to mute them, but otherwise there's not a real purpose. Oh, by the way, if you're confused what happened, when you mulligan you get to see the top card of your deck. So that's a, perk of mulliganing. So he's playing a blue deck, which means that once he plays another island, he will be able to counter some of our spells. Oh, now he's playing blue-red. Very similar to the last person we just played. So, I can either make a Goblin, or a Legion War Boss, or use Goblin Gathering. I'm going to do the War Boss, but he's going to counter it. No, he's not. That's surprising. No, he's gonna shock it. Okay, well his ability still activates, and we get a Goblin on the field. So that helps us just start attacking him and lowering his life. He's getting a really slow start. It feels like he is, at least. Though, and you don't need to worry about reading all these cards, learning what they do and all that quite yet. So he can still be killed by a shock, so I'm going to play that, get 2 goblins on the field so that a shock is wasted on them. So if we get 1 more goblin on the field, we can use him to kill this guy. But for now we're just going to take him, and we're going to attack. And there are cards that help you get your health above 20, by the way. Usually white has those cards. I don't know if there's other things. But also, sorry, if you're new to the game, this is a very poor tutorial. But it helps you kind of get a feel of what your average game would look like, how to make an alright deck. I believe I can probably win. Unless he counters this, which he will. There you go, finally. So he not only does he counter, but he surveils, which means he can look at the top card of his library and either choose to throw it in his graveyard or keep it. But I'm not going to attack. Blue players typically like to play most of their cards on the opponent's turn, and I'm not too fond. But now he has 1 mana, and I don't believe there's a whole lot of good 1 mana counter spells. But here we go, first strike. So, this is a combat trick. It's an instant, which means you can play it at any point in time. So, I'm going to attack this turn, and if he blocks with a Crackling Drake, I can cast this on the goblin that he blocks. Give it plus, so giving it where it has 4 attack instead of just 1, and first strike, which means it attacks before the opponent's creature attacks. And if it kills the opponent's creature, which it will, then, sorry, just so I don't waste time, then there is no damage done to the goblin. Let's see, does he have a shock? No, he has 1 blue, he can't even cast a shock. See, there we go. Now we killed one of his drakes, but he still has another. Which, like I'm saying, later on in the game, your goblins won't be very useful against a 4/4 flyer that gains as... Oh, dang. Yeah, so the Drake gains power the more spells you cast, or the more instants and sorceries. Which is a bit of a problem. But the red is pretty much damage dealing, and the blue is more tactical. So as long as he has that red open, he can, like, zap one of our creatures or something like that. But the blue means that he can counter us. I'm gonna go ahead and play Volley Veteran, even though I know it won't actually play. But this is because I'm hoping I can get actual like a traitorous instinct. Oh, so that was syncopate. That lets him pay whatever, like X is unknown. Yeah, like he decides the value. So that was a really good card. That's, you know, just, you can read that if you want. So, looks like we're gonna lose this game as well. This deck wasn't all too well made since it kind of was made in a hurry, but it does give you an example. See, we are getting them low, and the problem is we aren't drawing enough creatures right now, or ways to kind of slip by or kill. Okay. So yeah, he's going to win, because he just played an instant, which copied his spell that he just cast, so that's 2 more in the graveyard. And this gains power equal to the number of instants or sorceries in your graveyard. So though we have not won yet, you can easily upgrade this deck with other cards, or making it more, like I was saying earlier, like adding 4 shocks and taking out, like, you know, instead of, so you can have more reliable draws. Like, you aren't going to draw and be like, oh, I wonder what this is. I don't even remember all the cards in my deck. You can be like, okay, so this is either going to be a Goblin Gathering, a Bogart Brute, a Skirk Prospector, or, yeah. So, to probably improve the deck, that'd be a good thing to do. But, for a tutorial purpose, it's an alright deck. And that was unranked. Ranked, you might be able to get away with a win or two in like the bronze leagues because you might be finding people around your skill level. But everyone starts out in bronze, so I mean, don't get too cocky. You could be finding someone pretty darn good. At least I think that's how that works. It might just bump you a rank down if you're like gold last season. It might make you silver like when you play. I don't know. But yeah, so here's, you know, just before the tutorial ends. Here is how you find your match. You know, play, practice, traditional, ranked. Traditional is best out of 3. Play is best out of 1. Practice is against the AI. Traditional is best out of 3. Ranked is just ranked play, and traditional ranked is ranked as well, but traditional. Here are the different events. So, traditional, draft, Ravnica, allegiance. That's just, traditional means best out of 3. Draft means it hands you a bunch of booster packs and you have to make a deck out of the ones that, or it gives you, it opens a pack, and you pick 1 card from that pack, and then that pack goes away. Then you get a new pack, and you pick 1 card from that pack, and that pack goes away. You do that until you get a deck of about, or you make a 40 card deck from the cards you pick, but I forgot how many cards you end up picking. I believe 45 maybe 30. But yeah, but this one, it's traditional draft, so it costs only, you have to buy in using gems, which I don't really recommend. Constructed events. These are, you know, real cheap, real easy, real fun. You get 1/5 of your pay-in price, you know, and 500 is not hard to get, like, it's really easy, in fact. And you play until you lose 3 matches, and you can, you know, end up getting double what you paid for. This is easy just if you want to play events just for fun, like, and cheap too. Ranked Guilds of Ravnica draft, that's a draft you can buy in using 5,000, it helps you get gems, so once you build up a collection, that's really good. And it even helps build a collection if you just want to right off the bat start saving for it. Singleton, this is the thing where you can only have one of each card in your deck, you can't have more than that. And I had a decent one, this is cheaper by the way than the constructed, and I had a cheaper, or not cheaper, a singleton deck that actually got me to 4 wins, and I thought that was real nifty. And you can play these multiple times, by the way, it's not like you play it and they go away, though they do rotate in and out. Then there's traditional constructed, which is like the constructed event, but best out of 3. So thank you all for watching. Have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll make sure to answer them. And, yeah. Hopefully you guys are interested in Magic, and you continue forth. Adios.